Before we begin, please, once again, for the soul of the marhum, Al-Hajj Mekki Mansour Al-Haji, please recite Fatiha Ma'asal.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Tonight we're talking about al-Baneen, the mother of Hazrat Abbas. She's well known for being, she had other children as well. We know about the incident of Karbala and Imam Husayn and what happened, and how Imam Husayn went and fought like a courageous person, and there were people with him. There were people close to him. And there were people who came also to defend him. And one of those people, or four of those people, were the sons of al-Baneen. Al-Baneen means what? It means the mother of her children. And she became and had this title because of her children and who she was to them. And who they served as. They served the Ahlul Bayt. And all the kids paying attention? Please recite Salawat. Now the lecture is just a few minutes. Okay? You guys listening? I want everyone to be paying close attention. If I ask you after the lecture, if I have a question, I ask you, what did we talk about? What did you learn today? You should be able to tell me, I learned this, we talked about this. This is something new that I learned. Just a few minutes, right? So you had a chance to play and things like that. Now a few minutes, I want to listen and see if we can learn something new, inshallah. Baneen, her name was actually Fatima, was her actual name. And she became the wife of Imam Ali alayhi salam after Hazrat Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, passed away. And it says that one of the things that was unique about her was that her children and herself, they saw themselves as being servants of the Ahlul Bayt. People who wanted to serve the Ahlul Bayt. Even though she was the wife of this great Imam, but she wanted to be also a servant of the Ahlul Bayt. And why is that? Because the level that there is a position which is very high in Allah's eyes. Sometimes Allah looks at people, and there's some people, they do different things, and maybe they have different jobs. And there's some things that Allah looks at a person and He likes this a lot. And one of those things is the person who serves others. And the person who serves the Ahlul Bayt and what they believe in, what they stood for. Like for example, our Imam Mahdi Ajalullah Ta'ala Farajum al-Sharif, the people who learn about him, who want to be with him, who want to serve him, will be some of the highest of people in the entire universe, the entire world. Some of the highest people will not be someone because they have this title, or I have that job, or even if I have this much education, it will be what kind of servant was I to the Imam? What kind of servant was I to the Imam? What did I do that made me a good servant? So one of the things that she was happy to do was to be a servant of the Ahlul Bayt. It's mentioned that she came from a tribe that was that was known for their courage, known for being brave. And obviously, on the other hand, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he's also one of the Imams who's known for his courage and known for being brave, known for how he fought on the battlefield, how he lifts the door of Khaybar. All of these things, because he was so brave on the front of the battlefield, how no enemies wanted to fight against him. You know, there's a lesson in the fact, in this, if we think about it. You have a brave father, brave mother. So what do we expect to be of the children? They're going to be brave children. Hazrat Abbas, brave children. And one of the things sometimes it surprises people. If they have a child, sometimes if the child doesn't listen, or doesn't have good behavior, or maybe they don't show good home training, and maybe the mother will say, why is my child like this? Or the father will say, why does my child act like this? Well, it starts at home. Is it the same example that we have? If we have a courageous father, courageous mother equals courageous child, or a mu'min father, mu'min mother, you have a much more likely chance of having a mu'min child. And the same thing. Sometimes if you do something, as a reminder for all of us parents, that the lessons that we want to teach our children are what they're going to become. If I'm an honest person, my spouse is an honest person, then I have set a good foundation for my child to become honest. If I pray, my spouse prays, then I've set a good foundation for my child to understand the importance of prayer or the importance of religion. But what if it's not like that? Sometimes there's different cases. Sometimes we have a father, for example, very religious, and the mother is not, or the other way around. And they say, well, why is my child like this? Where do they think they learn? We want to teach about prayer, the importance of prayer, but when it's prayer time, they don't stop to pray. But they want their children to know how important prayer is. They want their children to be mu'min. They want their children to be people who love the Ahlul Bayt. Imam Ali alayhi salam, at the time of prayer, they pull the arrows out of his leg because he's so focused on prayer. Al-Baneen says, I want to be a servant in the household of the Prophet. I want my children to be servants of the children of Haydar. I want them to go and fight and defend Imam Husayn. Why? Look at the respect that the children of Al-Baneen have for Imam Husayn. He's not just their brother, this is my Mawla. This is my master. I'm a servant to you. How can I teach this if I don't show this? It talks about, if you read about the account of the history of what happened on the day of Ashura, what happened in Karbala. In Kitab al-Irshad, it mentions that they stopped for prayer. They stopped and prayed. We have a small problem, we forget about prayer. We get a small problem, something to do. How can I teach that kind of being a servant to Allah to my children if I'm not a servant to Allah? How can I teach that? I say, I want my child to be organized, go to school, do your homework. And that is important. So important. But if I want to see this kind of responsibility in being organized, then I have to be organized. I can't come late to everything and say, be on time with your studies. Listen to my teaching. If I want to teach this nazm to my children, I have to have nazm in my own affairs, my own umur, everything that I do, in my prayers. If I want to teach adab, how to talk, I say to my child, don't say these kind of words. What kind of words do I use when I talk? So what you see in the example of al-Baneen was that because she was the ultimate servant of the house of the Ahlul Bayt, you see everywhere across the world, Muslims say, for one day during these days we're remembering Imam Husayn, at least for one day let's remember the Alamdar and the person who held the flag of Imam Husayn. Let us remember Abbas. They want to remember Abul Fadl Abbas on a special day because he was a true servant. Where did he learn that kind of akhlaq? Where did he learn it? Did he learn it because al-Baneen said to him, you should be a servant and I'm not going to do anything? Or did she show him in the example of everything she did in her life? She put the children of Hazrat Fatima before hers. After Karbala, she asked, tell me about Husayn. I want to know about Husayn before I ask about my own children. A person like this teaches a person. This is the true lesson in what we should learn. How to be servants. And sometimes it goes both the other way. Sometimes children have to be teachers in their akhlaq and show good words. One of the best words that you can say is what? Salam. One of the names of Allah. Assalamu alaikum. When you start with these beautiful words, who uses these words? The people who live in paradise, in Jannah. These are the words of those people. One day would you like to be in Jannah? In a beautiful place where you have everything that you ever could desire? Even there are things that you love that you don't even know no human being has ever thought about. Would you like to be there? Why not talk like the people who were there? They use these words. And one of my students, he said, well, sometimes my parents don't say salam. It's okay. You say salam, you teach by doing it with good akhlaq. And what if my dad yells at me? Should I yell back? No, that's not the answer. The answer is you show even better akhlaq. You show even better character. Some of the people who will lead the nation of the 12th Imam will be young people. How are they going to do that? Because they had good character. They had good adab. They had good home training, good manners. The way they spoke, the way they talked. I was talking the other day about a great scholar. The scholar's name is Shaheed Muhammad Baqir Assad. He was a genius. When he wrote his first book, he was 11 years old. 11 years old. Is there anybody 11 years old here? 10 years old? So next year, I'll be looking for your first book, inshallah. Do you know why? Because this is the character of someone who follows a perfect example. Because our youth, the ones who are following our Imam, they can do anything. Allah helps them to do anything. If they wanted to take a test, Allah helps them to take that test. If they want to play a sport, Allah will help them to. So then they become like these sons of al-Baneen, Osman, Ja'far, Abdullah, and Abu al-Fadl Abbas. Salawat alayhim. One of the other lessons about al-Baneen that's very interesting is it says that she had some relatives. Pay attention now. Or who was one of the people she was related to? There's some good guys and some bad guys, right? In Karbala. She's actually related to, well, obviously she's related to the children of Imam Ali now, and Imam Ali is, but she was also related or from the same tribe as Shem La'natullah alayh. Who was Shem? The person who he cuts the head of Imam Husayn, sits on the chest of Imam Husayn. And sometimes the way that people would do things is that if you were from the same tribe, then you would get some kind of benefit. So it says that because they were from the same tribe, Shem came and he called out to them. He said, "Oh, you, where's the sister of our clan, of our tribe?" He was talking about al-Baneen. And Hazrat Abbas, he comes and he sees us and says, "What is it that you want?" And Shem tells him, "Well, you can come with us. You can be safe because, you know, we're all buddies. We're all from the same tribe. We have close family ties." Hazrat Abbas says, "I want nothing to do with the person who says you can be safe, but my Mawla is going to become martyred." He says, "I don't want anything to do with that." He was concerned about his master, who he's serving. You know, sometimes people, there's a big lesson in this. Sometimes people, you have a friend. Say your friend says, "Hey, let's go do such and such a thing." And this is something that's not good to do, something bad. Or say something bad, or look at something that they shouldn't. If my friend does this, or they do something bad, should I just say, "Well, this is my friend," or "This is my relative," and I just follow them because they're... No. Hazrat Abbas says, "I don't care if you're my relative or my family. I stand with who? My Mawla. And whatever he stands by. Because Imam Husayn is on haqq and on truth, then I stand with him." Sometimes people, they say, "I want to stand with someone, well, this is my relative, so I support them only because they're my relative. Or I support this person only because they're my friend, even if they're wrong." But what lesson is Abbas teaching? He says, you don't support just because you know someone, you go to the same masjid, or you hang out together, or that's my cousin. No, he says you support them because they're on haqq. That's the reason. And she supported the Ahlul Bayt all because they were on haqq. And her children support the Ahlul Bayt completely because they were on haqq. There's a lot of examples in history. And one of those examples that I like to talk about an example of the uncle of the Prophet. He's a relative, Abu Lahab. Was he on haq? No. Was he with truth? Was he doing what's right? No. Him and his wife make fun of the Prophet. They ridicule the Prophet. Making fun of people is something that's not good to do anyway. But making fun of the person who Allah loves the most in the world at that time, the Prophet of Allah, can you imagine that? Pay attention. Making fun of the Prophet. This is what Abu Lahab and his wife used to do. Throwing these thorns in the way of the Prophet so that he would step on those and hurt his feet. See, we have this belief, the same thing that the Prophet taught us. You love the lovers of his family and the Ahlul Bayt, and the people who are their enemies, they become your enemies. Why? Because as Hazrat Abbas said to Shem, he said, you are Adu Allah. You're not just my enemy because of this, you are the enemy of Allah. This is what he says to them. It says in Surah Masad, Masad is palm fiber. So what they make sometimes from the leaves of a palm tree or a date tree, from the leaves they'll make, it has a very hard, coarse fiber. So they might make like a rope out of it. And so this is named after this word, Masad, that's in Surah Masad. Do you know Surah Masad? Any of you? Tabat yada abi lahab wa tab. So inshallah you learn this surah. Ask your parents to read this surah to you so that you can understand. A person, because of the way that they talk to the Prophet, they get their name mentioned in the Quran. It's not sometimes you want your name to be mentioned with the good things. Not like this. His name is mentioned here. What is Allah saying about Abu Lahab? Remember, this is who? This is an uncle. Prophet doesn't say simply, oh, these are my relatives, whatever they do, it's fine, we're all from the same tribe. No. There is haqq and there is batil. There is the people who are on the right and the people on the wrong. Not simply that we're all from the same place, everything is fine. No. It says, Tabat yada abi lahabin wa tab. The hand for what he has done, he's going to be destroyed. Him and his hands and all the things that he has done. It says, Ma aqda anhu ma'lahu wa ma kasab. His mal and all his wealth. He's a rich guy, he had lots and lots of money. Allah is saying that all that money is going to do him no good. Everything he ever earned is going to do him no good. سَيَصْلَى نَارًا ذَاتَ اللَّهَبٍ. He's going to enter into the blazing fire. What was he doing that Allah has to mention in the Quran that he's entering into the blazing fire? What he did was the Prophet stood here. He says, I'm going to stand against you. So it means that we never, ever, ever stand against our Imam and what our Imam believes. وَامْرَأَتُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ. It says that the wife of Abu Lahab, she used to wear a necklace. And she used to love this necklace. She thought that, you know what, I'm special because I have this fancy necklace. I'm better than these other people because I have this beautiful necklace. It says that she's going to be the person who's taking the fire for her husband who's in the fire, hellfire. And fi jidha hablum min masad. And on her neck is this rope min masad, from masad that I explained to you, is made out of this rough fiber. So she's not going to have this beautiful necklace on her neck, she's going to have this rope around her neck, and she's going to be carrying carrying wood to the fire. These are people who called themselves the family of the Prophet. Is it just enough? I say, oh, I'm the family of the Prophet, or I'm a friend of so-and-so. No. So what do we act like? If we see someone doing something wrong, I don't say, well, I'm not going to tell anybody because that's my friend. No. That's not what it's saying. It's saying, if my friend is doing something good, I support him. I'm with you all the way. And if my friend is doing something wrong, saying something wrong, looking at something wrong, then can you support that? No. You say, I can't. I don't agree with that. It doesn't matter if this is a close person or a far person. We don't support this type of thing. It says that sometimes when they have sometimes what they would do is they would be governments, and they want to establish a leader of something. And they still do this sometimes. And the person who wants to be in charge of an organization or even a country, he wants to get a lot of votes, people to vote for him. So he goes and he tells all of his buddies, hey, Ali, Muhammad, Hassan, hey, you guys all come vote for me because we're family. That's it. Is he a good person? That's the question you should ask. Not just I vote for the person just because I want to. He's my friend. He's my family. We have to understand, is this what's right or what's wrong? Because even in that battlefield, the children of al-Banin, they had an opportunity to have a safe passage. Walk through the ranks of people and leave safely. Because they had some family who were enemies. So they could walk into the enemy side and be fine. They said, no, I will not be on the wrong side. We have to also always choose to be on the right side. One of the lessons from the life of al-Banin also is how she used to mourn. She used to do azah also. It's a hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says that she would go to Jannatul Baqi and she would go to the places where martyrs were buried, and she would mourn and read poetry and cry. It says this was one of the first instances of having majalis, of mourning. Just like when people would go after, the same as Hazrat Zainab or Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, where they would tell what happened in Karbala. And she would tell the story of what happened in Karbala. And there's one poem that's been translated, so I'll read the English translation of this poem from al-Banin about her children and the people that she mourned, because she was known as the mother of her sons. She said, I don't want to be known as this anymore because all of my sons have become shaheed, they become martyred. The arms have been cut off. How tragic was it, the death of Hazrat Abbas? And the same way that she was a servant until the last dying breath of Hazrat Abdul Fadl Abbas, he was a servant. How did he become shaheed? He said, I have to serve the children of the Ahlul Bayt. I have to be the sabri. I have to be the one who brings the water for them. They're thirsty. They have a need. How do you serve the community? How do you help? When people are thirsty, do you bring them water like Hazrat Abbas did? When there's something that needs to be done, do you say, how can I help? This is what Hazrat Abbas did. And he was a servant to his community. He was a servant to the people he was with. So much so that Imam Husayn alayhi salam, he tells him, for one time, I don't want you to call me Mawla, just one time. Don't say Mawla. Don't say Mawlai. Say Akhi, call me your brother. For one time, don't call me your master. When Abul Fadl al-Abbas is bleeding because of the arrows, because his eyes are filled and he cannot even barely see, he wants his brother to wipe the blood out of his eyes so that he can look at the face of Imam Husayn. This is how he loved the Ahlul Bayt, until he had no life in his body. He didn't have arms to remove the blood from his face. He said, I will serve my Imam until my last single breath. How do we serve our Imam? Do you serve your Imam? What does our Imam want us to do? He wants us to have good akhlaq. He wants us to be kind to our parents. He wants us to be kind to each other. He wants us to learn who the Ahlul Bayt are. If someone asks you, who is Imam Mahdi? Should you tell them, I don't know, he's an Imam, I think? You should tell them, no, this is who he is. This is what he does. This is what he's going to do. If someone asks you, who is Imam Husayn? You should tell them, I know he's this person, he did this, he stood up for that. All across the world, there's different gatherings. People come and they gather for some event. Something happened and people gather. So they record these gatherings in history. They record down how many people came to these gatherings in history. Look at how powerful Imam Husayn and those people who were serving him and serving his cause. The person who sacrifices her own children, and the children that are willing and go to the battle to sacrifice themselves to defend haqq, to defend their Imam, to defend their religion, to defend the Quran. $20 million people. This is not my count. 20 million people. According to many different places, news agencies, gathered where? Karbala. Why? Because they had love for their Imam. Why do so many people walk? Why do so many people say, like Imam Hassan says, when he would go sometimes to pilgrimage, not only would he walk but hafiyan, with barefoot. Why do some people even walk barefoot to Karbala? In the whole universe, in the whole world, go on the internet and look for yourself. What's the most gathering of people? Every year consistently, it's Karbala. On a consistent basis. Maybe there's one other instance where there was a lot of people, but that was one time. But every year, consistently, Karbala. And amongst all of the gatherings that have ever happened, the second most, the third most, the fourth most, the fifth most, the sixth most is all Karbala. What makes people love Karbala? How do I serve the same cause as the children of al-Baneen? You serve your community, that's how. And you see a lover of the Ahlul Bayt, wherever they are, you serve the people who are the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt. Why the Prophet said, وَلِمَنْ وَالَاهُ عَدِمَنْ عَادَهُ. You're friends to the people who respect the Ahlul Bayt in any way. And if they don't know about the Ahlul Bayt, then what is our job? Should we tell them about the Ahlul Bayt? We should tell them who they are. Because if they know who they are, then guess what? They would also love the Ahlul Bayt as well. I want to close with this poem that al-Baneen recited. It says in one of the history books, and this is the translation of it. Whoever has seen the courageous advances of Abbas, and along with him were the brave sons of Haydar, I heard that he lost his arms and his head was wounded. O Lord, how did my son fall on the ground with no arms to break his fall? Were it that he had a sword, no one would have dared to approach him. Don't call me the mother of her sons anymore. Don't call me al-Baneen anymore. This title reminds me of those Haydari lions. As long as my sons were alive, I was al-Baneen. Now that I have lost them, this title does not suit me. Those 4 sons of mine were like 4 lions. The ones who slept in the desert after giving their heads. Whoever faced them in the midst of the battlefield surely would have fallen to the ground like rain. How I wish someone had come and informed me that the arms of my Abbas were brutally severed. Please again, for the love of the Ahlul Bayt and the children of al-Baneen and what she taught them and what we all hope to learn, please recite one round salawat. Assalamu alaikum.